And then somewhere between that stuff happening, the goal is to make a space cable, which is crazy in and of itself because I don't even know how they're going to be able to do this.
Like a ladder.
It's basically like a ladder, an elevator. Yeah. I've already read that within our lifetimes and very recently, they'll be able to do one at least to the moon.
Wait. You're talking about something that stretches from Earth to
Japan.
Japan funded it. Yeah.
It's not possible.
It is. Is what's crazy about it. It totally is.
I think it'll stop before the moon. It'll like shoot the ship.
But things go in between, and
not at all points. Not at all points on Earth. On the sides of Earth while it's rotating.
Yeah, what if it starts wrapping up on ourselves?
It wouldn't. That's the thing, man. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but it's possible, and they're doing it. Flat out. Like, there's no speculation.
What's their
this is
time
happening.
frame?
It's like within 2040, it's less than that. 2030, I want to say. So within 10 to 20 years.
We'll be able to drive to this thing and say, hey, if we were to follow that line all the way up, it'll lead to Mars.
The moon.
Yeah. But in a nutshell, yes. That we're gonna, and the point being is that they want to be able to do that.
It sounds goofy to me.
I know, but then again, so does a particle accelerator that smashes atoms together at the freaking speed of light. That takes up 4 countries worth of space.
I don't want to be a pessimist, but it just sounds
crazy. It's science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, so is everything else.
Okay, so go on. They're gonna build the space ladder.
Right. Well, they want to. They don't know the logistics of it.
Is that just to get supplies from?
Right. Because the reason why this stuff takes so much money is because the amount of fuel that it takes to just leave Earth's atmosphere is crazy. It would take nothing for us to just shoot from Mars to Earth because Mars doesn't have an atmosphere to have to leave, and so they can just go poop right off of Mars, drift right into Earth, and fall into it, into its gravity. Mm-hmm. Right. So the space ladder would be the space elevator would be way more beneficial because we wouldn't have to leave gravity; it would just travel along this line,
right,
and pull itself along. So that's like
it just sounds so
a very
primitive.
important step. What is the space ladder?
Yeah, it just sounds so primitive, like just junk. Like I feel like if aliens saw that, they're just like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? You can just do this, and you can teleport it." Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like your science fiction sounds like caveman stuff.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
No, because the fact that you can make anything that could tether a planet to another planet is crazy in and of itself. But they have finally made the material that is strong enough to do that. And also transport something along.
It does sound like a primitive idea, but doing it is
in
crazy.
Practice is impossible almost.
It's crazy.
This
I just feel like if a race of a different universe came and they can travel in between galaxies and all over space.
Interstellar?
Yeah, if they were interstellar and they came over to our planet and they saw this ladder going to a different planet.
Sure.
They're going to think like, you guys are dumb. You guys are just clogging up your universe with just garbage. Like, look at all this metal you got just like running from planet to planet.
That is true, but that's a whole different topic about
like, why can't
space
you just
litter.
use, you know, you know what I mean? Like, they got
a teleporter?
Well, no, like, you know, they use fiber optics and magnetic fields to move their ships around and stuff like that. So it's like they're gonna think like, we have this technology that's available to you of like this science that you can move magnetic fields and stuff like that. But instead of figuring that out, you thought that it would be easier to build a space ladder.
Tie them together.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's a caveman way of thinking of, and I'm not saying that I have the answer. I'm just saying that it's like 2 cans on a string rather than using a telephone.
Sure.
That's a perfect example, actually, because of course cell phones don't have tethers, but we still get the information. But a can phone, like, hello, it's like we're just still thinking primitive, and we're not trying.
But I think in that analogy, the aliens would be using wireless cell phones, smartphones, whereas this progression that we're talking about, this ladder, is going from cup phones to telephones. So, like, we can get from point A to point B. We can get to the moon, you know what I mean? But the way that we do it is literally the primitive way of doing it, which is burning fuel.
Well, let me say it this way, then. What we're doing now is doing cup phone to cell phone, but we're using the rotary dial in between with the space ladder thing. You know what I'm saying?
I can.
The
I can
space ladder
that.
thing to me seems so stupid.
Right.
I mean, like, I get it saves money, but it just seems so junky. Like,
it's not that it saves money, it's that it's super difficult. And like you said, you watched a spaceship explode trying to do this, trying to leave Earth's atmosphere. And the reason that those sort of accidents happen is because those things are filled with fuel.
How much risk is involved with doing the space ladder thing? Like, honestly, like...
With the space ladder?
Yeah.
The only risk that I ever see is crazy stuff happening to the planets. That's the only problem because, and even then though, the space ladder connecting these planets isn't strong enough by itself to affect the planets.
And then, like, it scares me that I understand that our rotation with Mars and the way it spins and the way we spin might be in sync in some ways. But I feel like it can't be in sync enough to where it's like, we're going to put a point on Mars and a point on Earth, and they're always going to stay aligned around the sun.
Yeah.
No, it scares me because what if a asteroid comes over and smacks into Mars?
Impossible. Into Mars.
Smacks into Mars and fucks up its rotation or whatever.
Right.
Just by chance. There's a catastrophic event. It happened to the dinosaurs. It could happen to anybody.
Sure.
So, let's say that happens. It fucks up its rotation. And then all of a sudden, that ladder's pulling on Earth a certain way.
Why? It wouldn't. Because it's not strong enough. That's what I'm saying. It's not strong enough to tether these planets together. It's just strong enough to carry something between them. That's all. So though it's anchored to Earth to be able to stay, this thing is so strong and so thin that like that's its only practical use in that situation is just transporting. We're not trying to tether them together so we can like send troops like along it. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing like that. And we're not trying to swing either of us together so we have no reason to make something so strong that it would affect the planets. So when this meteor or asteroid hits Mars and causes this damage, that's going to break the connection. Simple as that.
But then what? We have like this trillion billion mile rope that's going to come down on Earth and just wrap around it.
No.
Most
of it would be out in space. It would be like a kite.
Okay, great. So we got just space junk just floating around.
That is true. We have tons and tons of it out there.
This is bullshit.
Are you talking about the littering aspect of it, or the fact that there would now, in this hypothetical situation, be a floating piece of string?
Both. Because once again, if a species or a race from a different universe comes down, they're going to be like...
big flapping.
Yeah, you guys are f***ing ridiculous. Look what we've given you. Look what's gave to you, and you guys are just throwing junk out into the space. You got this big, huge waving... Like, you guys are f***ing crazy. You're messing up this beautiful thing we got going on with this big flopping tail. Now you look like a big semen.
Well,
big sperm.
Mind you, all this stuff wouldn't happen.
You know, if we go to their universe, I'll bet you it's beautiful. They got flower planets.
I like how I'm talking about things that are actually going to happen.
Waterfall.
And you're bringing in all these hypotheticals.
What
about aliens? What about alternate realities? What about other universes?
Their universe is beautiful, and ours is just getting jumped up.
Yeah. All right, peeps, thank you for chiming in, listening to our talk show.
Peace out.
Peace out.